GE for War Thunder is an app available on the Google Play Store in which you will complete tasks of varying difficulty to earn yourself Golden Eagles. The harder the task, the more GE you get, the easier the task, the less GE you get. I recommend doing some of the easier tasks, get a small amount of Golden Eagles, and just get yourself a quick little day of premium time for a little bit of grinding. Click the link in the description down below and use my code on screen for 10 extra Golden Eagles. I want to start this video off just by saying thank you to all of you subscribed out there. Almost at 30,000 channel subscribers, only 300 more to go. So if you're new here, please do subscribe. It would really make my day. And it's just crazy, man. The fact that I have my own decal coming to War Thunder because of you guys watching my videos, liking the videos, all that good stuff. I really am appreciative. And from the bottom of my heart, thank you. And so I did set out to drop the coldest decal War Thunder's ever seen, and I think we succeeded. I hope you guys enjoy. The artist did a fantastic job, and it will be out shortly. Without further ado, let's get to the F-15. I do want to point out that the F-15 is probably my favorite aircraft of all time, with my top three being the F-15, the F-22, and the F-86. So, granted, you might think I'm a little bit biased, and maybe I am a little bit biased. Don't get me wrong, I absolutely love being able to clap 11.3 premiums as a 12.3 in the F-15. Fighting MiG-23MLs, F-4Ss have absolutely no clue what they're doing. It's a fantastic time, and this thing being the only one of the new jets that can still do that is definitely something special. That being said, I of course am going to be an advocate for game balance over what I think is my favorite plane or what I enjoy the most. And I do want to take a little bit of the blame for not a lot, but a small and significant amount of the community that does think that the F-15 is perfectly fine at 12.3, because my initial videos of the F-15 weren't exactly sunshine and rainbows. I didn't have a bunch of great things to say about this aircraft. Granted, I wasn't exactly negative either. I was more so just disappointed that we once again were having to take a Sparrow-reliant plane against a bunch of R-27ERs, because you, me, pretty much everybody that plays top tier is pretty sick of the R-27ER being so significantly better than everything else at this battle rating, radar missile wise. And to make matters worse, we have more R-27ERs, and we have a lot more of them. 3 times more on a single aircraft in what is the Su-27 compared to what we were dealing with the MiG-29. It really didn't seem like it was going to be a very fun time. And for the most part, that wasn't exactly wrong. I wouldn't say that the Sparrow is any more competitive just because it's on the F-15, but at the same time, that doesn't make the F-15 a bad plane. In fact, something that this aircraft has always had going for it and still does is flight performance. The flight performance of the F-15 is extremely highly rated. It's probably only worse in a dogfight scenario than something like, of course, the Gripen or the F-16A. And that's about it. Maybe a low fuel Mirage 4000, and other than that, you have free range over absolutely every aircraft in the game in a dogfight scenario, including the F-16C, the Su-27, any of the MiG-29s, the Mirage 2000, you name it. Of course, the Mirage 2000 is going to be a little bit more difficult, but still, the F-15 has the upper hand with just the momentous amount of thrust it has. I don't even know if that's a word, but goddamn, these engines produce some thrust, and you will accelerate very quickly. So not only is the dogfight flight model extremely strong, but it is also just a really good aero-realistic battle flight model, taking you up to high altitude if you want, getting you really fast, really quickly, holding energy at high speeds. The flaps work. You can go into landing flaps, and it actually helps you pull more AOA. It's just a really good flight model, and better than most of the jets in the game. Something that is worth noting, although it's not the biggest advantage, is that you get 940 rounds of 20mm Vulcan, which is pretty much double the firing time than that of like the F-16, for example, with its Vulcan. So you can do a lot of gunfighting, you can do a lot of spraying, and take a lot of hyper aggressive shots with this Vulcan and not worry about running out of ammo, which is pretty nice. Furthermore, you do get a lot of countermeasures. You get 240, which leaves you 120 on mixed of each flare and chaff. Not the most, but certainly a lot more than a lot of the other top tier jets are going to be able to carry, which does mean you can take the F-15 to high altitude if you want, and you can reliably 90-degree notch and chaff incoming radar missiles. And granted, the ER is still going to be beating you in jousts, and you're not going to want to take that fight. It is still useful for going to joust other Sparrow carrying planes, or what I like to do the absolute most in a plane that I have a lot of countermeasures with and can reliably survive at high altitude, is I just like to orbital strike people with IR missiles. And that is one of my main complaints with the F-15, is that I do wish it could substitute the Sparrows for 6 9Ms like an F-16 can. I do think I would rather have 6 AIM-9Ms rather than 4 and 4 Sparrows. I just find Sparrows that useless in top tier ARB right now that I would definitely rather have the AIM-9Ms. And so why does the F-15 have such a negative perception, even though it has all of these positives going for it? And I think that's mostly due to the fact that, as we talked about already, the weapons. People are just tired of taking Sparrows up against R-27ERs, and it's even more of a slap in the face when we've been complaining about the R-27ER since it came to the game, and they go ahead and they just triple the amount of R-27ERs that you're going to be fighting in a given match. I think that's the main thing that really left a bad taste in the mouth of most F-15 users, just the fact that the Su-27 carries 10 missiles in total, it has HMD, and the F-15 also doesn't have HMD. And we're seeing top tier jets shift more and more into that HMD IR missile meta, and it is very successful, and it's something that you do really want. The F-15 not having it is definitely by no means like a deal breaker. It doesn't make the plane bad, but it is something that you're going to wish you had sometimes. Even though 9Ms aren't the most effective close range missile to combine with HMD, if you're going to be orbital striking, if you're going to be picking off a lot of targets in very rapid succession, being able to just point your mouse at the targets you're trying to shoot at without actually having to steer your nose onto them does save you a lot of time. It is going to give you more shot window opportunity, and it's just all around no downside to having. So ultimately, the only thing that's really a negative about the F-15 is the fact that it does have 4 Sparrows, and I wouldn't even necessarily say it's a negative, it's just more so of a disappointment. I do wish, again, that it had 6 9Ms instead, or maybe just a better radar missile. We could see the AIM-7P by now. I don't know if the F-15 ever technically used them, but anything that helps decrease the gap with the R-27ER is definitely welcome to me. And the AIM-7P gives you the ability to loft, as well as lock on to the target once again after the lock has been broken, which is something that only the R-27ER can really do reliably right now. But as far as people saying that the F-15 is a downgrade to the F-16C, I would fully disagree. You could make the argument that it is a side grade to the F-16C. The F-16, of course, having 6 9Ms and HMD, and still not the best but very acceptable flight performance, does actually make it a contender for, again, a side grade to the F-15. If that's a playstyle you prefer, then by all means, I'm not going to argue with you if that's the aircraft you like over the F-15. But I don't think that you can say that either one is a clear downgrade to the other. They both have some strengths and weaknesses that they trade off while leaving no obvious downside to either aircraft. And with the F-14B, you have quite the opposite. People say that the F-15 is a downgrade or a worse F-14 are just smoking something. I don't know what to tell you. I don't know if I can say anything that's going to change your mind, but the F-15 is going to absolutely rinse either of those aircraft in a dogfight. It's not even a question. It's not a contest. The F-15 clears. And on top of that, the loadouts between the F-14B and the F-15 are very similar. And you could make the argument that because the F-14 has the capability of carrying 6 Sparrows instead of 4, that it's better. But I would counter at the fact that the F-15 has 4 9Ms rather than 2 9Ls or 4 9Ls. Either way, the 9M is going to be the better option, and it is leagues better than the Sparrow, and definitely is more worth having than 2 extra Sparrows or the pathetic missile that is the AIM-54 Phoenix. I really don't understand this one, but it's not like something that I've only read once and decided to make a video about. These are comments that I've gotten fairly frequently on any F-15 video, and a lot of my friends that make videos as well see similar comments where people just absolutely trash on the F-15 and basically say complete lies about it. and justify it being 12.3 battle rating. As you're seeing in some of this gameplay, this plane has absolutely no business fighting 11.3 aircraft. It is not a contest. If you get in a dogfight with a MiG-23ML or any kind of Phantom, you're gonna win. There's nothing you have to do. You could probably put one arm behind your back, maybe even turn the monitor off, and there's no way you're going to die to that enemy aircraft. You're just that superior in every single category. Of course, you could make the argument that that is the case with pretty much any top tier aircraft that gets down tiered, and you would be right. Obviously, an aircraft in a full down tier is going to have a massive advantage over the bottom tier aircraft of that match, sure. But when you look at, for example, 12.7 and as low as they can go, 11.7, and you see aircraft like the Mirage 2000 or the F-14B, or really what's more common is 12.0 minimum battle rating matches in a 12.7 game, where you have F-16s at 12.0, and obviously the flight model is sometimes better, oftentimes better on these 12.0 F-16s than what you get at 12.7. So there's definitely still some advantages that the lower BR aircraft can utilize to some extent. Maybe not a ton of advantage, maybe they're very unique advantages, but there's at least something that they can do, or something that they do better, and you just don't see that with these 11.3 aircraft up against an F-15. Is this plane a Gripen? No, I don't think so. I would rather be playing the Gripen. Is this plane an Su-27? I would personally rather be playing the Su-27, but the F-15 does a lot of things better than the Su-27, and much of it is just left to opinion. There's really no clear answer there which one's better. It's mostly going to come down to preference. Do you want all of those missiles? Do you prefer R-73s over 9Ms? Do you prefer flight performance? Do you prefer the amount of countermeasures? You name it, it's really going to be somebody's personal opinion. And just the fact that you can say it's really just personal preference for the F-15 when you compare it to these other 12.7s, I think that's a pretty clear argument for that this thing is a 12.7 peer-to-peer aircraft, and it really needs to go up in BR. I hope if you were one of those, or are one of those F-15 is fine at 12.3 battle rating people, that maybe this video gave you a little bit of insight, maybe gave you something to think about that you hadn't really thought about before, maybe you changed your mind. Either way, thank you guys for watching. I hope you enjoyed, and I will see you again real soon.